Hi, I'll be reading the instructions for the history video assignment, The Great Depression. But before that, I want to read a couple of, or make a couple of announcements, real quick announcements. The first one is that there'll be several assignments this summer session that I will assign. And just know that if you do poorly on one of them, that I will be dropping the lowest assignment grade. So you won't have to worry about that having an impact on your overall final average. Um, so the next announcement is that we'll be having our midterm exam on Wednesday. It'll be online. I'll have more information about that later. We'll have of course, it'll be online. We'll have a study review session on it on Tuesday. So you may want to log in then. Um, so you may want to have, I'm going to go over the instructions now for the history video assignment. You may want to have a copy of the instructions in front of you, to help out, maybe make it a little easier to understand the instructions. So this video is from a documentary video series put out by ABC around the year 2000. I think it's a very good series. It really gives you, in this case, a real good sense of what it was like to be living during the period of the Great Depression in America. Yeah, the video is only 33 minutes. It's not a long video at all. I think it's very interesting. Yep. So there are 6 questions. The first part, 6 questions that you'll answer, and then you'll see 2 prompt responses are required after that. So there's a total of really 8 responses that are required of you in this assignment. So the name of the video is "The Century, America's Time." The title of this particular video is "Stormy Weather, 1929 to 1936." Now, it's okay to research the internet in addition to using the textbook to add context to your answers. But always be sure to use the video first. Use that as your source first, and then you could use the textbook and or online sources. But always use a source citation. If you use the textbook or online sources, you have to use a source citation. If you use the video, you don't. So the first question, you see the video link there for the video. It's in YouTube, and you see it for free. So the first question, based on the excerpts presented in the video, how did FDR project himself to the world? What adjectives would you use in describing Roosevelt and the spirit that he infused into the country after he was elected? So you have to keep in mind the country in 1932, 1933 was in very dire straits. It was a very depressing time, so to speak. And so make specific references to the documentary to support your interpretation of your impressions of FDR. Yeah. So look at the video and just state what you think. It's kind of a subjective answer. State what you think. What kind of spirit did he have, and what kind of impact did he have on America during this period at the very beginning of his first term as president? So the second question. You have one scene. The narrator recounts a story during the Great Depression when she was a little girl, and she comes home from school, and she checks her piggy bank, and it's empty, and she gets very upset, and her mom consoles her and tells her, "Oh, your father had to take that money. He needed to help him find a job." And so anyway, the question is, what thoughts, emotions, and conclusions come to mind after viewing this part of the video? What feelings and thoughts have you? What feelings and thoughts would you have if it happened to you? So again, it's not a hard question. It's a subjective question. I have a few of those in this assignment. I just want you to relate to someone else's experience of the Great Depression, and their experience of living through these hard times of desperation, and in this case of being betrayed by your father, by a parent. So it's very desperate times, and people do desperate things. Question 3. In one part of the video, the narrator discusses who Americans blame for the Great Depression. In the video, who were the people that Americans thought should take the responsibility for the economic catastrophe of the Great Depression? So one part of the video, it clearly says who they blame. Now, why did they blame this group, do you think? Well, why did the 1930s generation, they blame this group? And then the next question, it's related to that. If we fell into a similar situation like the Great Depression, how would we react to the Great Depression? Would we place blame in the same place? Yes or no? So you'll understand the second question after you get the answer to the first part. So the fourth question: why was 1934 the peak of radicalism as depicted in the video? And what were the critiques of the FDR presidency at that time in 1934? That things were getting worse and the people were getting restless, getting desperate. And so, yeah, how did the second one? There were like two 100 days periods in FDR's term as president, and so you had a second 100 days in 1934. So what impact did the second 100 days have? How did it reshape American life according to the film, according to the video? So, yeah, the textbook goes over this period as well, 1934, if you want to check that. So, question 5, as presented in the video, what was happening in some foreign countries because of the worldwide disruption caused by the Great Depression? Okay. Which countries were these, and why were they behaving in such an aggressive, provocative manner? What factors in the world during this period were driving the hostile behavior found in these countries? What was making them behave in this way? Why were Americans so distracted and not taking note of what was going on in the rest of the world during this period? So that's question 5. Question 6, in one section of the video, there are images of riots because of the scarcity of food and lack of jobs. When times are so desperate, you have the possibility of a demagogue coming to power, someone who makes crude emotional appeals and impossible promises and then governs in an authoritarian manner. As per the video, did any such American demagogue ever appear in the 1930s? Who was he, and what promises did he make to the American people? What happened to him? Why didn't America become more authoritarian during the Great Depression like some other countries did? Yeah. So it's okay, on that very last question, it's okay to speculate to some extent. There's an extra credit question. At one point in this video, it mentions that roughly 100,000 Americans emigrated to the Soviet Union because they gave up looking for livelihoods in the U.S. They thought maybe the Soviet economic system was perhaps better, offered them more opportunities. So the Soviet Union is portrayed as some sort of refuge for these Americans seeking work there. And so the extra credit points goes to anyone that could answer what was the fate of these Americans who immigrated to the Soviet Union during the Great Depression. Yeah. Okay, that's the last of the formal questions, the 6 formal questions. And now we go to the 2 more informal questions. And so there's 2 further video excerpts here, but they're very short. So they're taken from the film Gold Diggers of 1933. This is a big movie hit, comedy, romantic comedy musical, released in 1933. So this part of the assignment is more informal. I just want you to time travel yourself back to the 1930s. Imagine yourself suffering from the Great Depression. You don't have a job, you're short of money, maybe you have a family support, you've lost everything, you have just enough money, a quarter, to go purchase a movie ticket. You go to one of these big movie palaces that existed back then. The movie theaters were really like palaces. So you begin viewing the movie Gold Diggers of 1933, and then you click on the first video prompt and you see the very first song, very first few minutes of the movie. And it's the song they perform is "Where in the Money." You probably heard that phrase. Well, it's made famous by this movie. And I just want to ask, why was it so popular? Why was this particular song so popular? Particularly at this time, why do you think people resonated to the song and to the spirit of this film? This is a big hit, this movie. Yeah. So, and then the next video excerpt, prompt number 2. This is this is actually the very last part of the film, and it's another musical number, and it's called "Remember My Forgotten Man." And there's a note there at the bottom, FDR campaign. This film came out in 1933, and FDR campaigned in 1932 about how he's going to take care of the forgotten man, So the name of the song, Remember My Forgotten Man. And the commentary here, this video clip is more somber and serious and is a great example of American art. What are the singers and actors really saying in the song? What are they pleading for? How and what ways does this song resonate with you? From analysis of this particular scene in the movie, what is the purpose of art, or at least what is one of the purposes of art? It's okay to speculate a little bit with this last question. And that's it. That's basically all I've got to say. The very last thing is this is an online course, and I know some of you, this may be your first online course you're taking, courses you're taking, or maybe one of the first courses you're taking online, and maybe you might feel a little disconnected or lost or something like that. And I just want to say, gee, please let me know if you feel that way. Please contact me and let me know that. I would greatly appreciate that. And so that's about it. I hope that you're doing well and that you're having a great weekend. Take care.